Physical security, identification, and authentication. Physical security is pretty straightforward. It's it's making sure that your doors are locked and everything is protected as far as physically entering and exiting the building. Identification, authentication. This is why we have passwords that we put in to show that to make sure that you have the proper access. We have policies and antivirus, which I know you guys are all aware of. Password protection. So this is kind of one of the vital parts of protecting information. Back in the days, it was not very common to have a password on there, and I know that it's something that's getting more and more complex as we do every day. As we get into more of a digital world. So one of the things that we have here, so we have a company. Our policy is to change your password every 90 days. It's usually got to have a capital letter, at least 8 characters. It's usually got to have the capital letter and some numbers in there. Some tips on trying, creating something that's a good, strong password. If it's just going to be password, that's one of the worst passwords you can actually have. I'm guilty of doing that a few times. I'm doing that a few times and since changed all those. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is not a great password as well. So I did a couple of examples, and I got a couple that I'd like to see if anybody can guess. So one of my favorite shows growing up was Transformers, so I wanted to keep it as Megatron. Instead of I have a capital letter here, I have an @ sign replacing the A, and I have a 0 replacing the O. Or we could do something like our former governor here in California and do Schwarzenegger, which I did have to Google how to spell this correctly. With a $sign replacing the S and replacing the A with an @ sign as well. And you can also use nursery rhymes to make more things, make some of these more complex. So let's see if anybody can get these. Bonus points to anybody who can. So this guy, this capital M, this is something that I can recall very easily without having to look it up or see, write it down. So this M, capital M, H, @ sign, LL, H, F, WW. If anybody can guess that and send it, go on the webinar or send me an email with what the answer is to any of these, I will give you props till the end of days. But it's lots of great things there. If anybody wants to know at the end of this what they actually are, I can definitely tell you guys. Using complex passwords also eliminates the potential of a social engineering attack. So one of the things social engineering is, if someone, say I needed to figure out somebody's password, and I can go on, with everything being, with social media, with everything being online these days, I can go to all these different social media sites and say, okay, well, on Facebook it has a picture of, John's cat. So I could say, oh, his cat's name is Fluffy, and, if he seems like a symbol, so maybe his password's Fluffy1, and I can try that. Or I go on his Twitter account, and he follows every, with Kevin, he follows every member of Backstreet Boys, so I can say Backstreet Boys 1 and see if that's his password. So a lot of information can be gained from social media, and protecting your password, keeping things away from what you have posted on there, and making sure it's complex, like the passwords with the nursery rhymes that we found before, are good examples of how to keep from anything like this happening, from anybody going through your social networking to try to get information off of you. Email spoofing and phishing. So spoofing is basically pretending to be someone you're not, like this gentleman over here with all the masks in front of his computer. And then phishing is trying to get you, the end user, to click on a link or in the email, or a link or a attachment to an email to get personal information from you. So I did a little example of what I've gotten in my own personal email address as examples of what they're trying to do to trying to get you to click on links. So Bank of America, there's an issue with my account. I don't even have Bank of America. John Moore, I couldn't tell you anybody I know that's named John Moore, but he's got huge inheritance for me. And I'm excited about that. But I kind of don't believe that. If I wanted to potty train my dog, I didn't have a dog. You know, Chrissy, I couldn't tell you anybody I know in my life named Chrissy. Lotto Kings, oh man, I can win the world's biggest jackpot. I couldn't even, yeah. So there's lots of different ways that they'll try to get you to. Somebody will try to get you to open an email and click on a link inside there. You know, just like we can see, anything from your bank, from somebody trying to offer you a lottery that you just magically won even though you never entered. Or potty train your dog. That was one of my favorites right there. So here's an example. This is from our friend John Moore. And you can already see his name is spelled differently in his email address. Yandex.com is nothing that in my 10 plus years of doing this that I've ever even heard of. But he goes on to tell me, dear friend, because we're friends now apparently, and he's got a lot of money to be sending me because of the lost, American airline flight that crashed in the World Trade Center. It's just a lot of BS to try to get me to now he wants my full name and my address and phone number, and he wants me to give him all this information, but he also doesn't want me to reply to this email. He wants me to send it to this private email, which why didn't he want me to send it to there before? That's also kind of, all these things start adding up before it's, if it smells like a duck and talks like a duck and walks like a duck, and now that's probably not good for you here. Also, some other examples. So examples on what to click on. So say you're getting an email with an attachment on it, and it kind of gives you a very general, hey, why hasn't this, one of the ones I saw recently was, why haven't you paid this? I'm getting really irritated. You're going to hear from my lawyer next. Click, open up the invoice and check it out and send it to me. First of all, if it wasn't from anybody we knew, and we weren't paying anybody to do anything else. But they figure a lot of these malicious emailers we'll send out thousands and thousands of these, and hopefully one out of 1,000 will send us some money. But yeah, be careful if it's coming from somebody you don't know, especially is another key, that they're sending you an invoice. They can show up looking like documents, like doc files from Word or Excel or PDFs, or even photos that are attached to it too. So yeah, one rule of thumb is if it's somebody you don't know or not expecting it from, don't open it. And if you, when in doubt, if you say you got an email, you say, I'm supposed to get an email from somebody with this organization, but this kind of, raises the hairs on your arm and doesn't look to be true, please contact us and we can always go through it and see. Also, on the right-hand side here too, you'll see a link to this page, and you can usually figure out if these are bogus as well, because if you hold your mouse over the link where it's blue and has the underline, if you hold your mouse over that link, it'll show what website it's going to take you to. So say it's coming from mcgill.ca. If I hold it over here and it says www.mcgill.ca, that might be okay. But if you hold your link over here and it has 250 different characters and going to some Russian website that we have no idea about, then it's not a good idea. And my rule of thumb is always, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is, which is why I've won the lottery thousands of times and never collected. What to look out for. So, some of you have seen these pop up when just going through the internet. So, even if you're not going to any sites that are potentially harmful, going through MSN or Google News or whatever websites you like to go through, there'll be pop-up ads that have come up, or similar to this, say, can you take this survey for us? And as soon as you start clicking through there, it starts to download different things and say, oh, well, we're going to give you free, a dozen free iPads or a $1,000 gift card if you just answer these questions for us. And obviously, this question's really easy if I want am I a male or a female? So, always, whenever those pop up, I, hit that little X on the top right corner, get rid of it, because we know that those are bogus. Another one that comes up, like the one on the right here, is that, your computer may have a virus. I'm like, well, yes, wow, how'd they know that without ever, without being installed and, having access to our antivirus or firewall or anything. How do they know all this? And call, they said we've got to call this number immediately, and that's obviously not the number you call to get any of us. So, and word of caution, I've had this happen to a few people, not here, but at previous employers where they've gotten this and they call and they say, oh, well, hey, my computer's growing haywire. And says, okay, well, let me log into your computer. And so this guy says, go to, he gives them a link and downloads it. And he said they just let some random guy, nose around in his computer and until he finally realized, oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. I should call, I was the IT guy at the time. And maybe I should call Andrew and ask him if this is legit. And yes, so be wary of those. That's another bogus thing that pops up from time to time. So you can just X out of those and get rid of it. And see if they're asking for credit card information. That's a good red flag right there too. What to do if you've been compromised is to contact the IT team as soon as possible. The easiest way, the best way to get rid of these and kill them off as fast as possible is time. So I mean, time is always of the essence. Well, the next thing you should do is unplug your computer from the network, just so it's not sending or receiving any malicious or information. If there's a virus that was potentially downloaded to your computer, is to remove it. You can't really plug it in until instructed by one of the IT staff as well. Once somebody isn't engaged and starts diagnosing, you'll have to go and change your passwords, because that's kind of one of the first thing they go for. Is they'll go for your username and password to try to get into other systems and see if they can get any other goodies from you guys. I know that with Interwest it seems far less stringent, but I used to work for a lot of financial institutions, and they were a lot more stringent about their passwords, and as soon as you did it, you had to go to another computer and change it, and that computer that was affected had to be almost thrown away into the garbage and incinerated before we could let them back onto anything. So it's really vital that you guys get to it as fast as you can and change your passwords and keep off the infected system. So an example of an email tax affecting local government is a little link to an article that I found. Community college in New Hampshire scammed out of over $100,000 using a phishing and email attack. City of El Paso lost close to $3 million. So those were attacks where they could get where they got somebody clicked on an email that they thought was legit and did wire transfers for large amounts of money to different vendors that they thought were legit. So always kind of got to verify everything that comes into you, in or out to you. So this is kind of something new that I started doing here. We're going to do Meet the IT Pro. Alex is one of our IT guys down in Southern California. If you work down in Southern California, you probably met him. So one of the things I really like to do is I wanted to do 2 truths and a lie. So out of those first three items, Alex, 2 of those are true and 1 of those is a lie. So he's a car enthusiast. He loves pizza and he loves salad. So it's up to you guys to determine which one is true and which one is not. And I'm also, as far as IT guys go, we're also not below taking bribes at all. So if you ever see Alex and you need him to do something for you, if you give him a payday, that will be your ticket into getting to the front of the line. I'm not advocating for bribes or telling you to bribe anybody, but I'm just putting that out there. Also, last but not least, the Interwest Help Desk, say this at the end of every one of these. If you ever have issues, please call us. Call that number. You would get somebody on the phone. You can always email us, itservices@interwestgrp.com, or you can stick a ticket in at support.interwestgrp.com. And that's all I got for today. Do we have any questions anybody wanted to answer? everybody here too.
You're probably not. Okay.
Jason, hey Jason, I'll look into that and make sure that you're on there as far as getting in there. Eric, no, I can't say that Koviki is the answer to the riddle there. I can send you guys. We can always go back there. Let's see. So I'll give you guys the answer to these two right here. So with this MH at, so we can start off with Mary had a little lamb, her fleece was white as snow. Oh man, what was this one? This is, okay, so for the bottom one, this is somewhere over the rainbow where skies are blue. So, I mean, it's kind of an easy way to memorize something because you'll always remember Mary had a little lamb, and just got to know that when you're hitting the capital letters or putting the special characters in, it's probably that's kind of easy way to do that there. So, all right, and if anybody has any other questions here. Legitimate business clients. Yeah, Eric, I see biggest spam spear phishing issue for me is legitimate businesses. I've seen those before too. And if it, that's kind of on whether or not we can keep everything secure, which is why we have firewalls and spam filters, and we're changing our password every 90 days. And if something kind of seems off about it, I always recommend I'm not sure if you should send something to a certain person. You can always contact them directly, which is what I would recommend too. Yeah, if you find out that when somebody is sending you something that's funny, contact them. I'd say pick up the phone and call them and talk to them, just because that's probably, without getting involved in their email and possibly getting information from them or from you, is probably the easiest way. It kind of reduces that risk right there. Always a good idea to mouse over the link for you. Absolutely.
Hey, Andrew.
Yay.
Hey, Mohammed here. I just wanted to give a quick example of a phishing email that just recently happened with a colleague of mine and another working for a company in Sacramento, and they essentially had a phishing attack for a wire transfer, and the person that was clicking on it and went through the process was really close of actually transferring it. It was a real estate company, and they were actually really close transferring the money to Hong Kong. So I just wanted to let everybody know that it is real. Phishing attacks happen on a daily basis, and they look really, really close to being 100% legit, as you might get from another colleague. So always ask questions, and if you end up getting something that you're not unsure of or seeing what it is, if you can just forward it to us, we can always look it over and just be 100% sure that you are, that is a legit email or not, or just pick up the phone and call that person before you do anything, because it's coming to a point where it's very hard for people to distinguish what's real, what's not. So just FYI for everyone, always ask questions, and always, we're here to help. So if you run into something that you don't know if it's legit or not, please just send it to us, and we could verify it for you. And I think other than that, we could just, if you have any other additional questions, if you guys want to just email it to IT services, and then we could answer it. This webinar also is recorded, so it will be available hopefully by the end of today online. So if you want to send it to somebody that wants to look it over, it will be a YouTube link. So once it's uploaded, it will be on our support site, support.interwestgrp.com. I think that's it.
Any other questions? Then I think we're all good to go. Thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you.